fearless, beautiful leader that BT was telling us about is Sochi Rivera. She's the executive director of the Racial Justice Action Center and has actually been the champion of this whole pre-arrest diversion program, getting us to empower ourselves and get the energy to get going. So I like to do that to our fearless leader, and ain't she beautiful?
Yes, she is.
Inside
Good afternoon. You guys, should I wait for you guys, or you guys? Okay, good. First of all, can we just get a round of applause for that PowerPoint? That was and I think that what we wanted to do really is actually just open it up for questions and answers, because you know it's an initiative. The idea of it is really simple. But, you know, but then in practice, a lot of people have a lot of questions, and if you're ever presenting this to your congregation, people may come with, what do we do in this situation, or how really is it going to work? And so if there are questions now, we'd love to answer them, and then we'd love to go back to that slide of what we're asking of you all to see if we can get some commitments for people to sign up and be a part.
So we have the first question. We had a late guest to come, and we would like for you to stand up and tell us who you represent and where you just came from.
I'm Randall Bailey. I just came from the conference. After I had a 10:45 appointment, which got me here at 11:30. Thank you. Okay, no, I did it that way. No, I was a person this weekend. I'm a member at Ebenezer, and just retired from ITC.
He's talking real soft. I can't hear it.
Sorry.
One thing to show he ain't gonna preach his baptism.
There are many Baptists who do question my ordination. Once they do hear what I say.
All right, any more questions about the pre-arrest diversion or where the faith community is supposed to be in this fight? Do you need more assistance?
Yeah, I've tried to get clergy to have an altar call. Everybody in their church, who, if Medicaid had been expanded, they would have had health insurance. I can't get clergy to do that. You know, but I think if we see the people that are affected by this, and that they're members of our congregation, then folks might want to do something. So I think, as opposed to a prayer, we need an altar call for anyone who's experienced this police harassment. You know, just and make it safe for people to come forward, so people can see incarnated what it is that we're talking about. I think that would be more effective than, because prayers generally, our affirmative prayers affect the prayer more than God, but I don't see many prayers getting affected by it. So, that would just be my 2 cents.
Great idea.
Is it possible to get that PowerPoint sent to us?
That's right. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We want to work on some comments, the sidebar comments, so that you have the fullest picture of it, but yeah, we can definitely share that.
I feel like you brought up a really good point. So, I'm someone who would be very willing not only to do a presentation within my own community, but also clearly this is a a good start, and there needs to be more faith leaders, and so I'm also committed to helping get more faith leaders to the table. But my question is, I probably don't even know what the questions that people tend to have that I should be prepared. I mean, I've done some reading of the Seattle program, so I'm somewhat aware.
Yeah.
But are there like the common questions that people get that you can maybe talk us through?
Yes, there are, and I don't think we might have had them as handouts, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say that if people wanted presentations, we are available to come out and do presentations for you and answer those questions as well.
Great.
Yeah, I think we can commit to, we were saying, if anybody wants to gather your community and get people there, that we'd be happy to come out and do that. And we do, we have 2 sheets, we have a 2-pager, which has a lot of good information distilled, and then we've got a sort of frequently asked questions, and it's an 8-pointer that have the basic tenets of what it is, how it works.
I was also thinking that as a suggestion, maybe like when you finalize that sidebar with the video, maybe frequently asked questions could go there as well.
Yeah, right, great.
Yeah, when I was looking at the presentation and saw, 77,000 people in there with the stats, the only question that came to our mind is where does the money come from to pay for the caseworkers to handle this load of people? I mean, that's somebody got to be paid to do this work, so where would that money come from?
That's a great question. So the jurisdictions who've been implementing this, Seattle and Santa Fe, they had private dollars at first, foundations who were really interested in seeing if this could shift drug policy, funded the services. In the city of Seattle, the city has now picked up that tab because they recognize that there is a cost savings. So they pick up the tab and pay for the case management on the front end because they've actually shown that they're saving money on the back end. So I think ultimately that's where we would want to go, but we do have private foundations interested. The Open Society Foundation, who's one of the biggest funders, has been working with us now for a couple of years and is interested. So I think we would probably have to do some kind of partnership here in Atlanta to begin, but there are so many foundations and people who are interested in investing and who are connected to the city of Atlanta. So we feel really hopeful because you do need that. You need to be able to start it off to show that you can do the savings. We have the cost benefit analysis from Santa Fe. We have the cost savings from Seattle, so we can really show in other places. But someone here, we're going to need to probably run a pilot program for some period of time to be able to show that to be true. And then I hope that we'll go to the county in particular and see if and really that should be the investment they make, knowing that it helps save money.
And Ford Foundation, which sponsored our delegation to Seattle to actually see the program, actually worked. And it was like seeing the impossible made possible. They gather in one great big room like this, and you got the police officers there, you got the counselors there, you got the prosecutors there, you got the public defenders there, you got everybody that's tied into this giant system sitting around this table, finding the best solution, person by person. The program has been so successful, people are going up to the police and asking them to get into the program.
Wow.
And the cost benefit analysis show that it's cheaper for them to house the people that are homeless and give them the services than it is for them to keep locking them up. And right now, our police force, the only thing they have, and Deputy Chief Spillane, which was one of the people in our delegation, says the only thing he has to work with is a go to jail card. So this will give them another tool besides just taking people to jail. And a lot of the police officers are actually tired of seeing the same people going in and out of jail. They actually want to have another incentive. There's really no human incentive there. And one thing about Seattle, they changed the incentive for the police officers. So the police officers get something out of changing a person's life. And when we were there, an actual person, while I was outside smoked me a cigarette. She came up and asked me for one, and she just started telling me her story and how she had been out on the street, her and her husband, and they got into the program, and it's been 2 months now, and she's gone back to school. He's got a job, and their whole lives have changed. And it was just 2 blocks away. It was at the park where they used to get arrested at a lot, and it was just so great to hear a real story, and it just came out of nowhere. So, and then actually seeing it, just actually seeing something that sounds so impossible to do, and actually seeing it work, it changed everybody's mind that went with us. All the delegation, they were excited, putting plans together, how they were going to garner the support that we needed in the courts, with the judges and with the prosecutors, and just having a prosecutor, and this is not the rough, but just to hear the prosecutor say that the jail is a money-making scheme. It's like the elephant in the room that nobody ever acknowledges that this is what this is, you know, but the way that it's portrayed and the way that it's garnered in the media, it just portrays that that's all these people were, but it was a route to how they came into contact with law enforcement. What was that problem? Was it homelessness? Was it drug abuse? Was it mental illness? Was it homelessness? I mean, what was the root cause of them getting into there? And then there's no rehabilitation, there's no anything that's making your life better while you're in there. So what's the purpose? To make you a more hardened criminal? Are you sending them actually? We used to call prison what we still do college. I've been to college. People ask you where you've been for a minute or two. Oh, I went to college. But when you go to college, you learn how to do worse and worse crimes. So when you come out and the doors are closed on you and there are no banned boxes, you know, and you have to check that box and you can't get no work and you gotta eat. The children gotta eat.
You know, I want to say that, you know, being head of Common Ground for the last 11 years, one of the things we do is we try and empower individuals. And one of the walls we run up against is, I mean, we have some talented people who are talented. I mean, you know, DeeDee, you've seen it, Roger, they have these skills and I'm amazed by what their talents are, but we've always run into this wall of, I got a background. They're 20-year-old backgrounds, 30 some of them, you know? And these individuals are totally different than they were when they were like 20 years ago. And no matter who they send them to, no matter where they go out to apply, that box is there, you know? So my question is that box just for state employees or is that across the board?
It's for state employees, but Fulton County, the City of Atlanta, DeKalb County, East Point have banned the boxes. So now that gives you the opportunity to be able to go and apply for a job and like anybody else and get selected based on skills, education, and qualifications. And on the back end, now you have tools that you can negotiate your background. How long it's been since you've been arrested? What is the nature of your crime? Is it relevant to the position you're applying for? And actually there's some other things in place where if you, for instance, they do a GCIC and it comes back and it's not right. And you say, well, this is not me. I was arrested, but I wasn't convicted. So they would give you, I think it's about 5 working days to get legal documentation showing that this is not you. But those people, those counties and the state do hire people now with backgrounds. It's been proven that once a person is able to get in and say what their background is, because all backgrounds are not criminal. Right. Some are other things, but when you check that box, you immediately opt out. So that was the thing that kept me in and out the system, because at an early age I committed crimes, but I couldn't get a job. And I lied to get a job, and I was terminated when they found out. And once I was able to get a job and say I'm formerly incarcerated, that's why I initiated that campaign to help other people that were just like me. I really wanted to work, but I wasn't allowed to because of an early mistake or bad choices or however, which kept me into the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other question is this going to mean added jobs for our community as well?
Excellent question. Dean, did you have something before I?
Yeah, I wanted to just respond to the first question around the money. like as y'all saw in the PowerPoint, the city is collecting $24 million a year just from taking parking fines and traffic fines, right? And the court fees when you go to court, right? And so when I sat in on the city council budget meeting where Christine Reed is proposing that we even increase that and take $7.5 more million out of the hands of Atlanta's residents to balance the budget, they're arguing that they need this money in order to balance the budget, but then turn around and spend $30 million on the Atlanta Detention Center. And so the budget for Atlanta's Department of Corrections, which is the Atlanta City Detention Center, is $30 million. So you're taking $24 million from the people and then putting $30 million into a system that's already failing. And so part of that money issue is the mandate that they reinvest the money that they're taking from Atlanta citizens into a system that actually works. And then the statistics around the mental illness, the 77,000, that was statewide. On a county level, it was, the Fulton County Jail has 2,600 inmates in it, and the level, half of them have mental illness, which is 1,300. And so but we're talking about the city of Atlanta and Atlanta City Detention Center, which holds 500 people for very minor offenses. And I'm sure a pretty good amount of them have mental health issues too. But it wouldn't be a ridiculous or outrageous, amount of money needed to even address the issues of those 500 people sitting in the Atlanta City Detention Center.
Is the handout going to have these statistics? And if it doesn't, can we get them on the PowerPoint? Because these are powerful numbers that prove the case.
Local numbers, yeah. Can you write that down?
Yeah, I was just, because another selling point for the community is this going to also create jobs for people, social workers and other people, because I've often talked to graduates who are social worker graduates. That's a hard job to find. And so if it's going to create more jobs, I think that's another selling point.
I think that, and actually, I think that's right with jobs, and I think this is part of why also it's so important to have you all involved, because what we know is that, so we are going to be at the City Council on the 21st to drop the resolution. That resolution will create a design team. That design team will meet regularly to put together what is the real pieces of the program. Who are the case managers going to be? What are the requirements for a person to get in the program? What is the thing that would maybe disqualify someone? These are the kinds of details, and you know how they always say the devil's in the details? So that's actually really important, and it's really important to have community voice enter into that, because you could end up with a program that, quite honestly, isn't all the life-changing that we're talking about, right? Part of what they have in Seattle in the programs that work in Santa Fe is that they have a harm reduction philosophy. They have a housing first philosophy. Okay. They understand how people get well. You don't get well because you get told you have to do it tomorrow, and if you're not clean when you come back tomorrow, then we're gonna put you in jail for longer. It's not how it works, and we know that. So those details, including the case management piece, will be decided on, and we really need community participation and community to hold all the stakeholders accountable in that process. But I think there's a possibility, like Dean was saying, we disinvest, we take the money out of that we're putting into jail, pouring into jail, and then we have that for services. Similarly, it's almost like the facility itself, the detention center itself, doesn't need to exist. It was built in 1996 before the Olympics, pretty blatantly, because the Olympics were coming and there were going to be a lot of cameras watching, and they didn't want that many homeless people on the streets. That is why we have a city jail, in addition to our county jail. So sometimes you can even envision closing that place down and having that be repurposed. And then all those employees who are there jailing people could have jobs that have benefit to the community, right? And work with the social workers and folks that you're talking about. So it's kind of a long answer, but I think it has potential absolutely for creating jobs and the kind of jobs that we want as a city, instead of the jobs, that are dead end and that, have you inside a jail all day long, locking up your brother and sister in a cage.
So my other question to her, that you were mentioning, where's the mayor on this issue?
So if anyone saw the Creative Loafing article that came out last Thursday, which we should have had copies of, that lovely DeeDee, Ms. DeeDee and Ms. Marilyn were both quoted in the article, and so was Mayor Reed. And Mayor Reed is quoted as saying that, you know, everybody around the country knows that we have to address this issue of over-incarceration, and if there's a possible solution, then we need to get to it. So that was the first we've heard him say quite that clearly, but we're gonna hold that. He said that to the news media, it's public. So we're really hoping on the 21st, our job between now and then, and if people know folks in the mayor's office, and maybe we'll ask if, are folks here on Twitter? Okay, a couple of Twitter, all right. We may do some tweeting at the mayor, just to let him know how much support there is for it. And we're really hoping that his people come out on the 21st and testify in support.
Last question, is there anything we can do to lend support to the 21st for the resolution? Is there anything we can?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
We need you to stand up for the public comment part of the, while the resolution is being introduced. There'll be a public comment part. You have to get there early and sign up to speak. And then speak and give your support for the program, for the resolution.
And we could ask first, you could come. Bring your body, bring your numbers, bring someone with you. We're probably gonna do a press conference beforehand, and we think it's the 21st. There's a chance it'll be one other day, but we would let everyone know. But so bring yourself, bring one other person to just be there. Speak at public comment or speak to the cameras as we do a press conference. Any of those things would be wonderful.
So, it's not very well known, but the Atlanta Human Relations Commission is around and is operating and doesn't have, I sit on it, and it doesn't have a tremendous amount of cases. And so we get together and then we're kind of twiddling our thumbs, and there have been some work that we've tried to do with Robin Shahar, the city, around trans folks with homelessness. And then that kind of got taken away. So if there's a way to leverage that commission's responsibility to do education on behalf of the city, or hold the city accountable in ways that demand equality, let me help put you in touch with the right person to get that on our agenda.
Great. Are there public meetings that we could come to?
There are public meetings. Every meeting is a public meeting.
Okay.
There's actually one, I'm going to be out of town, but there's one on Thursday.
Oh, wow, okay. So maybe we can get, and then if there's one Thursday, will there be one the next month? Will there be one in September?
We meet every 3 months, but my sense if there was something that was urgent, that we said that we would meet.
Okay, great.
As a young transgender, what can some of us do to be involved in stuff when it comes to for the LGBT community, especially as the transgender?
Yeah. Oh, she missed the question. Okay, hold on.
You can join us. You can join Solutions Without Punishments. It's a trans-led organization. We have meetings every month also, the fourth Wednesday of every month. And yay, tons of share. So the question is, how can a young trans person get involved?
Get involved with SNAPCO. There are a lot of ways. Right now we have an amazing internship program called the Trans Leadership Connection Program, which is for trans folks of color who've been incarcerated, who have been discriminated against the police. And so they can always come and volunteer with us at SNAPCO. You have amazing organizations like Luncheon and Transforming and Women on the Rise. We do amazing work in the community. We're starting outreach where we're collecting surveys and stories come next month. And so there will be an awesome time that we will love volunteers. If you know trans folks, trans women who know where other trans folks are, we need them. So.
Yay. Yeah. Fourth Wednesday of every month at the Philip Rush Center.
Yes.
And then definitely, if you're interested in doing some outreach and survey collection, stay in touch.
And we have cards.
And one more thing about the business community in Seattle, they actually created a jobs program to enhance the pre-arrest diversion program, because once you give them the data that it is cheaper to provide these services and to keep locking people up, to give them a job. Most of the people they gave a job to were the people that were being arrested in front of their businesses and stuff. So it was a great thing to see the business community just take a hand into the whole situation, rather than just want to just lock everybody up, which that is the main solution. But really, with the resources that you are putting behind locking people up, you can take those same resources and turn a person's life around.
Okay. So, because we are organizers, so we forgot our butcher block and markers, which is unlike us. But do you have a pen and a piece of paper in front of you? Okay. So I'm actually going to ask someone to take notes and just try to get some real concrete commitments from people. Because we would not be good organizers if we didn't do that. So what I'm passing around is just a sample letter of faith organization, of faith community support for pre-arrest diversion. It's just a sample, it's a guide, it's a template. We would love for people to do a letter of your own. You can follow it as much as you want, you can use your own words, but on your letterhead from your community. These are the letters, and then I would love to see a show of hands of folks who think, hey, thank you. Oh, butcher block. Thank you. Why don't we put one on the wall? Let's just tape a piece on the wall. Can I get a show of hands of people who commit or will at least bring it back? I know sometimes you can't make all decisions, but to your community to get a letter of support completed. So I have Reverend Zuber and Rabbi Lesser and Pastor Meredith. You want to write these down if I did? So Pastor Meredith, Rabbi Lesser.
Great church.
I'm sorry?
Great church.
Mr. Excellent team. And Richard. And Rabbi
That's
Lesser.
Reverend. He's a Reverend. I just forget his last name all the time.
Reverend Richard.
Finally earned the title this last part, so.
T. Yep, T-E-E. Rabbi Lesser. Yes. Who did we miss? And Reverend Zuber. Is it Reverend? Okay. So that is good for letters. Did we miss anyone who made a who raised hand for commitment? Okay.
I'm Minister. My name is Robert Brown. At the church they call me pastor. At the church they call me real. At the church they call me a whole lot of names. But I'm minister, and I am concerned. But somebody got to sit down and get me with where you're coming from, where you're going. Because see, I guess I need to stand up.
Here I am.
Because people if you're going to talk stands or something. The problem is sin. I think all of y'all know that here. If you don't, it is. And it's sin that destroys me. But then my mind is always that how can you get people to hear what they need to hear? And this day and time, they want to say the church is failing. I like to say it started at the home first, and then it spreads abroad. But the problem is there. The answer is Jesus. And we live in a time where they kick Jesus aside and everything else is more important. I do know that. Y'all know that. But my concern is I want to know, where we're at, what we're doing. I've been invited by this young lady here. And it's too much. Man just can't handle his sin, but God can.
That's right.
And if we let him handle it, but how you going to get the people to handle it when they don't show up at the place they need to show up? Because the word is, the only thing the preacher wants is money. But they give his money to everything else. And I ain't talking about y'all. When you talk about what they give his money to, they give his money to drugs. And so they brought up the police and all this and money and coach up and all that. I know y'all don't know, probably nobody at the table knows. But ain't it strange how they can pull you over for nothing? You know, you might have run a stop sign and you might have been going 5 miles over. Now, when you're going 100 miles an hour, they need to stop.
And they don't.
And they need to get a big fine, but if you notice, the person that they pull over ain't the one pay the fine. It's that little one or somebody. So they're getting a lot of money, you know. And my thing is, charging all these big fines, and I know you've got to keep the judge going and folks around him and all that, all this stuff like that. They got to live. But the money's out there. But where it needs to direct to probably be going, might be used better. That's another thing. So I'm concerned that y'all can just help me out with most stuff. And the young man over there talked about the altar call. I do it every Sunday. Fact about it, I've been doing it ever since God called me to the ministry. And I was in the rural small Baptist church, less than 75 members. And I started altar call, and then I had some brothers tell me, they do that in the Catholic church, not in this one, but I've been doing it ever since. And it is effective. The only way anything about God gonna be effective is man gotta believe.
That's right.
And I said this and then I sit down. I think what happened is James Brown, who's gone on, he came out with this is the man's world. If God man ain't did nothing, it's God's world. And a lot of folks believe that it's theirs. And so therefore, they run over you, run over them, they do this, they do that, all because they think it's their word. But it do not belong to us. We all belong to God, and He wants us to get along together. So, if you give me some information.
I think you have a volunteer who will come to you personally and do some more teaching if that's what's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to get, because I know we're wrapping up, I think we're probably at time. Can I just get a time check? Is it?
It's 2:05.
Okay, we're definitely in time. So September 21st, we would be in touch, but can I see a show of hands as well? And maybe we just put a check mark on the ones who can commit to coming on September 21st. So I have Rabbi Lesser, Pastor Meredith. Any other take?
Location.
City Hall.
City Hall.
We'll be at City Hall.
Morning or afternoon? I'm gone in the afternoon.
It's 1 p.m.
1 o'clock.
It's 1 p.m. Okay.
Downtown.
Is there anyone from your church you think you might be able to reach out to? Okay, so let's just mark that down.
Get out of here.
We'll ask them.
Will I get the deposit or will I get the ticket?
You'll get free park. I'll make sure you're here for that.
Exactly. In fact, Ms. Mary will come get you. Wonderful. And then the last thing about the, we just want to put that ask out again. If people would like to do presentations in there, is there anyone here who knows that they'd like to do a presentation in their community? So Rabbi Lesser, if you want to write down just presentation, and also Pastor Meredith, because then we can follow up with you in that. Did I see a hand up here? Did you have your hand up right there? Okay, you were just scratching your head. Oh, okay. Okay. Great. Okay. Terrific. Is there anything else that people would like to commit to or ask? All right.
I want to thank y'all for identifying.
I'm sorry. Oh. And so just to close us out, I'm calling up Ms. DeeDee, who for some strange reason calls me the fearless leader when she is the fearless leader and very beautiful as well. So I will let you close.
Thank you all for coming. You hope we shine some light on the darkness because we are the children of the light. So I hope you leave here with a new understanding of what's really going on and where you might fit into this equation. Let the Spirit guide you and let it carry you along your way. Thank y'all again. Have a blessed evening.
And
After application, don't they go back and edit it and reconstruct it and then edit it forward? So literally,
The scholar.
okay.
Gonna be like right here. That's got word. So
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a call.
Quick question for you. We're in Cobb County. Is our voice coming from Cobb County, this dialogue, and help as far as the dialogue goes in our home.
Which is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
from
the
Cobb
scholarship?
County.
I'm sure the same.
Yeah.
How that all. And I've used that when I'm, I said, when I saw rap back in because I've used that.
So if you're an office, then I might be able to connect that. You are.
That would be great. Be able to go on and it's easy to move from, oh, it's in Fulton County. And I think it's probably a greater level than Cobb County.
Yeah.
So if we can.
So they do they go to chronology?
I think that would be wonderful.
Let's go off our voice and.
That'd be fantastic, yeah, and I do think the letter is something, I think that, because people are constantly in Atlanta, because of the Atlanta, so I think that would be great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, really nice to meet you.
And they're saying, scholars say, they're saying Moses is telling the story, but he's not really telling it.
and that like king and all of that is saved more by Orthodox. No, I didn't hear.
No, ma'am.
Just the context.
The five.
That's true.
Oh, yo, that was his. For writing.
Writings, yeah.
Right.
And that's where like divine inspired or.
And basically you're saying divine inspired. And you know, that's kind of where I'm at with you. I would say,
At that convention?
No, it was.
Oh, she's had the meeting. Wait, why did I say that with that?
yeah.
I've seen you. I'm the person that's kind of, I cut my hair.
Questions in our
Maybe if we get it. I think that, yeah.
That to me is dead in the
Very
tradition.
You know, coming from you, I can appreciate, like you said, in the story, but I do think that there has to be some evolution to human life. I just can't stay back there. You force people to go back into a time period.
Right.
Did not exist.
Yes.
Okay, just take the table. Yeah. Well, thank you. I look forward, yeah, me too, thanks so much. And there's, yes, there is the gathering or something that I think is our community, I haven't been here in the church. I'm missing you, Boots. I will. Miss DeeDee asked me every Sunday. I love the old church, so I was like sad when you, but now I need to go see the new place. I like the old place.
I'm missing you.
Do you?
I don't have no more of these.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, let us know how much, before Ms. DeeDee said that you preach on Sundays and raise
Yeah, I actually
issue with that.
use it in a sermon, the whole concept that
Yeah.
it presents. It's very attentive, so, yeah, I'm on board.
You know Doug Amor?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so we brought Doug in, we brought the Georgia Innocence Project in. So our community has been in a real conversation.
Okay.
So it's not just like dropping something down. Some folks have been in discussion groups around Alexander.
You think so?
Helping with their faith organizing. Duncan, someone who needs to be brought up the conversation, he's their faith organizer. Before before Duncan, I was doing some of this volunteer work as a former board member. And so like, I think about the Georgia
Okay.
This is not a